Hello, welcome to Inspire in Half an Hour podcast. My name is Ruth Aisi, and I'm really excited today to be talking to Laurence Hendrickx. She is chatting to us from Belgium. I start straight away by asking her to tell us her inspiring story.
And obviously, I'm very happy to be on your podcast and to share my personal story, of which actually you are part as well, and you played an important role in it. So let me explain. So now I'm 57 years old, but I have to take us back 18 years ago. So we were both living in Mozambique, and I had worked by then. I had been living for about 12 years in Africa, I think. And I had started off in Malawi, and I must say I had also seen the devastating impact of HIV and AIDS at that time. I was working as a veterinarian. And I remember that when I left Malawi, after 4 years, I actually made a list of all the people, the colleagues and friends I had lost due to AIDS. And there were more than 30 people in 4 years. So I was, as you, I was very aware of what HIV was doing to society, to work environment, to the gap in the productive working category of people. So all these grandmothers left with their grandchildren. And so I was very aware. So now I was living in Mozambique. I was divorced from my Flemish ex-husband, and I had these two girls aged, I have to think now, 10 and 6 at the time.
I remember so well.
I was in a relationship with a Mozambican man, a happy relationship. And we had decided to have a child, and I went to confirm the pregnancy. And when I sat there and the doctor said, after coming back for the results of my blood test, he said, well, yes, you are pregnant indeed. Congratulations. But actually, I have to tell you something. There's another test that came out positive. You are HIV positive. And that was such an absolute shock to me. I went from complete happiness, having a baby, being happy there, to devastation, thinking I would die, and my life completely disintegrated, really. And actually leaving there, he quickly comforted me, saying I wouldn't die, because obviously the first thing you think is I'm going to die. And the first reaction I had was, I'm not allowed. I can't die now. I have these girls, they're 10 and 6. They need me. I'm not allowed to die. And I came out of there in shock. And actually, you were the first person I called, because I knew you had that experience, having people in your personal environment living with HIV. You knew what it meant. And you were the first one to comfort me into saying, I remember you saying, there will come a day you will have this access to this medication, because luckily it was at a time there was antiretroviral medication was widely available, easily available. I never had side effects from the treatment either. And you said, there will be one day you will just take that daily pill and you will forget about it. And I couldn't believe you. I was like, and I was pregnant. Then we discussed the whole, what was I going to do with the baby? I even considered an abortion. And you brought me into contact with this wonderful doctor there who followed me for years. And so I was surrounded by so many warm people who could comfort me. So I think everyone since then, the people I've talked to and the experience I heard from other people living with HIV, is the first reaction for all of them is the same. You think you're going to die. It's devastating. But then I think how you react to it, how you deal with it, depends so much on your social network.
Yes, yeah.
On the network you have, and that's what makes a difference.
Yes. Yeah, no, I can imagine that, Laurence. Yeah.
And I've always been very aware that I'm a very privileged person. I had access to the medication. I had good friends around me who could comfort me. And my main worry for all those years was because of the stigma. And actually Mozambique was still very, very big impact of stigma and HIV in Mozambique at the time. And I was mainly worried of the impact it would have on my children. I was scared that they were going to be bullied. I was scared their father would take them away from me. And this is the the big mental impact. So physically, I never had a problem. I had, well, the hard times I had dealing with my daughter being born and not being able to breastfeed her, for example, having to have the cesarean. So obviously there were a lot of consequences from the infection, but I was never sick. So physically I never suffered, but the mental impact was very large, obviously. And I thought, remember, as I said, I considered an abortion. I considered giving up my relationship because you're angry. First, you're scared to die, but then you're very angry.
Yes.
And so I didn't have, I considered mainly of breaking up the relationship because I was so angry. I was pretty sure I got it from my partner at that time. So you're angry with him. And then I realized if I do that, if I break up my relationship, if I do an abortion, I will lose everything that I had at that moment in my life, which made me happy. And that would have been stupid. We could deal with it together. And it brought us together. We started, and then he did the test. Obviously, he was diagnosed as well, and we started treatment together. And that gave me the strength to continue with it together.
How did you deal with disclosure? Because this was a thing that I found very difficult in Mozambique for anybody living with HIV because of the disclosure, different challenges. And particularly you, I found that with most people assumed you would not have it. It was like everybody, there was this thing. I remember someone saying, a foreigner once saying to me, an expat, oh, there's this African disease out there. And it was just this assumption that somehow if you were, particularly if you were white and if you were an expat, you were not going to be with HIV. And people would talk about it in expat communities like it was something that would never impact them.
No. And they didn't think it could happen to them.
Exactly.
And if it did, I remember also there was a rumor, I won't say which embassy now, it doesn't matter, but at an embassy, there was talk of, we heard that one of our technical assistance people got infected, is HIV positive, and he got it because he's in a partnership with a local woman, and how stupid could he be? So when people would give comments like that to me, I would nearly die.
Yeah.
And so
it's shocking.
Well, you said my part about disclosure. I didn't disclose to hardly anyone for 15 years.
Yeah.
You were the first. I had another, my good Belgian friend, and I had medical people, and that was it. And that was it for 15 years.
It's incredible. Yeah, but that is a strength. That's all. I mean, it has its challenges, but also that strength of character to actually, in a way, deal with all the ignorance and the stigma, and not even, being able to come back to people and say, listen, I'm living with HIV and you're ignorant and you need to reflect on what you've just said.
To me, I felt for this long time I could not do it because of the children.
Yes.
Because I could, you deal with the repercussions yourself and you can decide, I'm going to disclose and I don't care what people think of me. But I couldn't take that decision for my children. And I was scared of losing them. I was scared their father would take them away from me. So these consequences I couldn't bear with. And so much later, to maybe now jump those 15 years, what made me to finally disclose it is when I had come back to Belgium and I went on treatment here. I was actually also following a course on making a podcast.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Work related.
Yes.
And I'm doing that course. And then on 1st of December, World AIDS Day, there is I would say, semi-public figure. He participated in some popular TV programs, so a bit known person in Flanders. And on 1st of December, he disclosed his HIV status. He had been diagnosed 6 months earlier, early 40s. So very different situation from mine, but so and he was on the news because he made it through his contacts, and he wanted to make that statement like, listen, I have been diagnosed. What is there to be to feel guilty about, to feel ashamed about. We need to talk about this. So he wanted to address the stigma. And it had such an impact on me. I saw this, I was like, wow. So he inspired me so much to do something similar. And I thought one day, it had been in my mind, like one day I want to do something about it when the time is there, when I'm ready for it, when my children are ready for it. So he inspired me. And actually, he also lives in the same city as I do. And we were sitting on some city council together. So I met him. It's actually funny. I disclosed my status to him just prior to a meeting. And you know, it was just spontaneous. And he had a shock when I told him. He said, oh, by the way, just before a meeting, can you imagine? I couldn't hold it any longer. No, I'm also HIV positive. What? Yeah, and I discovered when I was pregnant. What? We need to talk. And so suddenly it was clear to me, like, I want to make a podcast, and I want to do it with him.
Fantastic.
Because so we made it in Flemish, because I wanted it to have a big impact here to, as you say, to educate people for awareness and providing correct information. For example, on the non-detectable is non-transmittable is a message that is hardly known by the general public. There are, like, in our center here in the city, we are about 1,500 patients being followed up. And once a year, they hold a big fundraising event because it's linked to a research center. And when they ask people to publicly provide a testimony, they can hardly have 5 people that they know that would be willing talking about it out of 1,500 still today. And then the more I thought about it, and the more you realize, but hold on, what have I done wrong actually? Why would people judge me because of a virus I'm carrying in my blood? What does this, is this really sufficient reason to have a, I don't know, to think I'm a horrible person, or to you know, so once you really deeply think about it, it's just a stupid thing to do.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And you're like, well, whatever, if that's what you think of me.
That's your problem. Yeah, that's their problem, not your problem. Yeah, their problem.
Exactly.
How did you work out when to disclose to your children?
Okay, that is the hard one. That is, we discussed on our last episode in the podcast is on the impact on the people around you, family, friends, work colleagues. And that was a specific question that we tackled, and that is interesting to see. Well, when I had the discussions with the man I made it with, who doesn't have children, and he never thought of that. For him, it was easy. I decided to disclose. For the children, I thought, obviously you want to protect them, but you don't want to lose their trust, and you want them to be aware. Remember, I was still living in Mozambique. My big fear was, I had 2 girls. I was, at the time I got diagnosed, 39 years old. I'm highly educated. I have a master's degree. I knew the impact of HIV. I had all the information I needed, and still I had not been able to protect myself. So how would I suddenly got scared that my teenage daughters who would start going out, how would they be able to protect themselves? And I had a feeling, I'm 39 years old. I've lived a good life. I had, normal pregnancies, whatever. You don't want to get a diagnosis when you're 16, 18, or 20 years old.
No.
So actually, my eldest daughter was about 18, but you're scared to, I hadn't accepted it for myself at that time. That's also the thing. When you don't disclose, when you don't talk to people around you, you haven't accepted it for yourself. I felt that very much in the year I made the podcast. The first times I would disclose to people here, I was crying. I was still, showing what it did to me. I couldn't speak in a normal way, the way I do now. It means I had not accepted it myself. So I was still struggling with my self-stigma a lot. And it's only by talking about it and by seeing the reactions of the people around you that would be like, well, okay, what does it mean? And they ask practical questions. And so, but coming back to my daughter, she she had actually come to me that she was scared she was pregnant.
Oh, I didn't know
First
that.
thing she thought of was like, I can't be pregnant. I don't want to have a baby now. And the first thing I thought, like, oh, you
Oh
had
yeah.
sex.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we went to do together to do a pregnancy test for her. And then she came out completely relieved. And then we were still sitting in the car. And I told her, well, there's something else I want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
And she knew immediately. Somehow she felt it. And we had,
Yeah.
and obviously it was amazing. I could share this with her. And so then the second one, we did it together I can't remember. I think she must also have been 17 or 18 when we told her. And we did that together.
Yeah.
And what I found interesting, so then when I wanted to make the podcast, obviously I couldn't do it without my children agreeing to it.
No,
And
exactly.
still the youngest, whom I was pregnant with, she was 15, because it's 3 years ago. She was about 15.
Yes.
And we had, interestingly, long discussions with my other children, like when to tell her.
Yes.
And my eldest daughter was saying, Mom, I think it's too early. She's in the middle of puberty. She was quite a, how should we, a challenging teenager. And so she was, this is a disturbing time for herself. You're gonna, it's too much. You can't do it. Well, I was saying, I have a very trustful relationship with her. And if I wait too long, she's going to blame me for not disclosing it. Why didn't you trust me?
Yeah.
So we somehow had to go along with our feeling. And at one point I said, no, I think we should tell her. We planned it. So we were, me and the 3 daughters together.
Oh, you're all together.
We were all together. We had
Yeah.
planned it like we have a meal, and then and then the eldest gave me like, come on, Mom, let's do it. And so I tell her, I have to tell you something. And we just tell her, and she goes like, oh, okay. So, and she was completely chill. Like, that made me realize the amazing
it's interesting
difference in generations. And later, when I made a podcast, when I saw our generation, who have witnessed the late 80s, and when it was absolutely a deadly disease.
Yes,
you got diagnosed, you were going to die, so people were scared.
Yes.
And those people remained with that fear. And there's the stigma from them is really as a protection, like they didn't want to have anything to do because these people are dangerous, they can infect you.
Yeah.
While the younger generations now are much more open about sexuality, about gender issues, about gender identity. So they talk much more easily about all those things.
That's interesting.
And to her, so because I think another thing why the stigma is still so strong is because it's a sexually transmitted disease. And it's something very personal, and it's something people don't like talking about. And they presume if you were infected, it means you must have had a lot of partners, or otherwise you wouldn't get it, which doesn't make sense either.
No, exactly.
So there's a lot of disinformation, and people don't realize, but for the older generation, it has all to do with that past, with the heavy emotionally loaded and discussion about it, so they don't talk about it. While the younger generation, they talk about it much more easily. They are not scared about, there was no stigma. She talked to her friends at school about me. She's actually so proud of me. I made a podcast.
That's great. That's great.
I got a message one day mailed from the director of her school saying, Maya taught me about your podcast. She's so proud of you.
That is amazing. That is great. And so she should be, but it is not the reaction you would have got 10 years.
The other side of it is they don't have the information anymore. The use of condoms is declining. The rate of infections is on the rise again.
Yes, I've heard that.
Because they don't know about HIV anymore.
No, people don't.
So I found that very conflicting.
Yes.
Because so the only thing I can say is try to be in a trustful relationship and always teach your children to always talk openly, freely about sexuality
Yes. Yeah.
and discuss things through and
Mm.
yeah, it is very hard. You can
Mm.
never, that's the thing, you can never be sure. You can never control things in your life. And we have to let
Yes.
go of that thought of thinking we can protect ourselves always.
No.
There's always a risk.
Yes, exactly.
And
Yeah.
it doesn't depend only on you. As you say, your partner can have an affair, bring it to you. So you can't live constantly in fear. I think young people definitely, if you're not in a stable relationship, definitely use condoms. And not only for HIV, but also other sexually transmitted diseases are on the rise.
Yes.
With big consequences. So yeah, talking about it.
For you, did you ever think you would have a relationship again?
Oh, no. Well, for a long time I thought this is going to be impossible.
Yeah.
Several reasons. One, obviously, to do with myself, that I would never be able to trust a man anymore. How could I? Someone whom I had completely trusted, it happened to me. So how could I ever trust a person again? And then I also thought, like, okay, here I am in my 40s, divorced, 3 children from 2 different men. No man will ever want to have a relationship with me. And actually, the major change was when the medical evolution was such that indeed, if your viral load is undetectable, you cannot transmit it.
Yes.
Because I thought, exactly to do with the use of condoms, if you're for a long time in a stable relationship, how am I going to convince a man of my generation who have always protected sex in a long-term relationship? No man will accept that. So I had completely given up the idea of ever having a relationship again. And then also, it's when my youngest daughter, she was also very protective of me. And you know how little they are. Like any man coming near me, she would make sure they would lose their interest. They would lose interest very quickly in getting near me. And then one day she told me, Mom, if you want to start dating again, it's fine with me. Shortly after my daughter had told me it's fine to start dating again, I happened to meet someone by coincidence, and there is a sparkle, I think.
Where did you meet?
What?
Where did you meet this person?
On the street. And he came to me, actually, he was British, and he came to me and said, you look like such a wonderful person. And I go, and then comes the question, when do you tell someone? When do you disclose at the start of a relationship? That's a hard one. And then it was so funny to discuss it even with my daughters. And they went like, I said, we went on a first real date, and I was like, I'm going to tell him. And they were like, Mom, not on the first date. First you need to get him hooked a bit. Oh, you can't scare him off. So I told him on the second date. Came over to my place. We were going to have a meal together. And I just, told him there's something I need to tell you. And I told him, and he seemed okay. Yeah. But he wasn't.
Oh, interesting.
And I later realized he was ignorant as well on HIV. He worked in the pharmaceutical sector, so I thought he would be
a bit more knowledgeable.
He wasn't. Yeah. He actually left quite quickly. And after that, and it made me so sad and so angry because I was rejected because of it, although he didn't even have the courage to admit that. And it was actually in the period that I had the thought of making the podcast, but we hadn't put it. We were still like, and it made me so determined. I was like, see, there is a need to make that podcast. And it gave me more courage and determination to make the podcast. And I thought, like, if then after that people would have an interest in me again and they Google me, they will come onto my podcast. I never want to have to go through this again. Yes. Yeah. And then, well, some months later, actually, then it was my children again who stimulated me to go on Tinder.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, Tinder is nothing for me. I can't
Yeah,
do
because it's
this,
a
whatever.
swiping one,
The
isn't it?
swiping, I think
Yeah,
it's horrible. So
yeah.
let's not do this anyway. But yeah, but you must be curious to see what's out there. Yes, I am. So let's make your profile. So I went on Tinder,
Yeah.
and I was very, very lucky. It was my second date.
Okay.
And second, so we had a wonderful evening chatting,
Yes.
and there was really a spark. And the next day, I went to his house, and again, I said, "There's something I need to tell you." And I think what was important there is two things when you disclose is immediately taking the fear away of dying or so.
Yes.
Immediately I said, I'm living with HIV. I've had it for, well, by then it was 15 or 16 years. I have never been sick. I am on treatment. Because of the treatment, I cannot pass it on to you.
Yes.
And then I took a step back and said, well, I understand if this is a shock to you, or how you deal with it is obviously your decision. So you tell me, then you have to take a step back and let
sink in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was just, the first thing he said was, oh, wow, this is actually a wake-up call for me. Like, this could have happened to me. He spontaneously back on he asked me, who can say our age definitely that never in their lives they've had one unprotected intercourse where it could have happened to them.
Yes. Yeah.
So he saw it as bad luck.
Very empathetic. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was, and then he looked at me, and so I was, I had taken it, and he was like, come here, and gave me a big hug.
Fantastic.
2.5 years now.
Oh, that's so nice. And the girls are happy, they approve.
They are, and at the beginning it was hard.
They're not too jealous.
To get used to having to share my attention and my love, I think, and they felt a bit threatened, and I had to make clear to them, like, the funny thing is they wanted me, go on Tinder, you have someone to do nice things with.
Yes.
You go out to, you go to concerts, you go out for dinner, have these things. But then obviously, I think they should have known me. Once I fall in love, I go full head.
Yes, I could have told them that.
No, they're used and they really like him.
That is fantastic. Oh, no, I'm really happy for you, Laurence. Yeah, that's great. It's exciting. Looking forward to meeting him and seeing you again in person. Yeah. And what do you like to do what's the things you like to do to enjoy and distress? I mean, you had this 15 years when you kept this secret, but you still, when I met you in between time, it wasn't like we didn't have fun and you were.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't want to keep
bad stories.
Exactly. We were crying laugh together. Exactly. Yeah, because we've had some interesting experiences together.
It's appreciating what you have. I think I am a privileged person in so many ways, and it's counting your blessings. It sounds silly.
No, but it's true, isn't it?
But it is. There's so much in life I'm grateful for, and I am in good health. I only carry HIV. But I have a perfectly happy life, and it's the social network, and it's that privilege.
Yeah. And your hobbies, I know I always hated playing tennis with you because you were
we were better at watching together.
Yes, until like 1 a.m. or whatever it was. We were watching our tennis on TV.
For many years, I honestly didn't have the time to do sports. But I have an active life. I cycle to work. And now that the children are bigger, I try to do more exercise, padel, a bit of swimming, condition training even. So try to keep being fit. I think is very important. And then it's just social things and culture. It's going to concerts, theater, movies, reading a lot. And now that my little one she's going to start, so she's turning 18 and she's starting higher education and she's moved out. I enrolled for piano lessons.
Oh, fantastic. That's lovely. And so what are the plans for the future? Are you still living on a boat? I need to ask you that.
I do.
You are on a boat now as we talk?
I am.
Amazing. Wow. That is fantastic. Wow. And how is living on a boat?
Oh, it's wonderful because you see there's a lot of light.
Yes, I do
Light
see
and
there's a lot
space.
of light. Yeah.
So I can see I really was missing that. I lived in a small house here, and having
Yes.
lived in Africa so long, where you have the
Yeah.
views, the sky,
Skies.
and
Yes.
this is what I have here. I have this terrace, so I stand out and I can see the sky all around. And
Oh,
I'm in the middle of
amazing.
the city, but being on the water, having the ducks around and the view,
Oh,
and so it's a bit like living outside of the city, but in the
see,
middle of the city, not having direct neighbors. It's wonderful. I have become a bit calmer as well with age, not rushing in too many projects at the same
yes.
time, and enjoying more me time now.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and just enjoying life, enjoying the
Mm,
people around me
yes.
within
Yeah.
the small things, really.
Yes.
Continue counting our blessings and continue trying to stand up against injustice in all its forms and ways, and which is
Yes.
horrible. We're living in a very
Very.
hard world, and I try
We
to
are.
bring in as
Mm,
much humanity as I
mm,
can. So
mm,
investing a lot in personal relationships,
mm,
colleagues as well. Becoming older, you feel the pressure young people are
mm,
under.
mm,
So many factors. Life is getting harder and harder,
mm,
I think, for them.
mm,
Pressure being put on people. One
mm,
job is not enough. Earning
mm.
money, buying a house has become
Impossible
hardly
for a lot of it.
impossible,
What
nearly
work are you
impossible.
actually doing now? What work have you been doing? And apart from all this, the awareness raising around
No,
HIV,
the
what
funny
sort
thing is that my professional life and my personal lives have become very intertwined because I
mm,
work within the Department of Public Health and Primary Care at the university,
uh-huh,
and I support researchers
mm,
in. We provide a lot of trainings for them,
mm,
research methodology related, so to
mm,
improving their excellence, let's say, in
mm,
research, but also and mainly to provide a bridge with society.
mm,
I work on societal outreach. So
mm,
teaching, I found it funny that you have to teach young researchers again. When in
mm,
Mozambique, for example, researchers were also civil servants working in the
yeah,
Ministry of Health. Mainly, I think because funds were so limited, any
mm,
research, it was obvious that when results came out, we had dissemination workshops at the
mm,
ministry. The results would be fed back to
mm,
policy, to the general public. It was automatic. And here
mm,
it seems we have to teach
mm,
researchers to do that again. They do their research and they
mm.
think policy is way too far from, they
What
don't think
the
they can
connection?
influence policy.
Mm,
So that's how I made how I
mm,
took part in the podcasting course, to make podcasts for the department as well and teach people to how to
mm.
bring out their message.
Okay,
And how
great.
ironic is it that I
Mm.
made my personal podcast on a public health related topic,
Yeah.
but not at work, but
Yes. Yeah.
actually giving kind of my colleagues,
Mm.
researchers, professor a masterclass in how to do societal
So
outreach.
yeah, no, exactly. It is
So it's
incredible.
very crazy how
Yeah. Your
my
life has,
personal and
yeah.
professional lives are
Mm.
intertwined, and I'm passionate about the work
Mm.
because it also impacted my life. It's
Mm.
something I live and I
Mm. No, you're
want
very,
to share.
yeah, it gives actually a lot of authority and you're, yeah, very sort of
So I'm
real. Yeah.
I'm very happy to work at the university. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's
I don't
excellent.
teach myself, I don't
Mm.
do research
Yeah.
myself, but being part of that environment is very
Yeah,
stimulating.
yeah. No, it's so inspiring. Your story is really inspiring, and your messages as well that will
Thank
have
you.
impacts on people. I mean, definitely, it's impacted on me, though I know your story, but even just I feel inspired listening to you now again. And one
Thank
of the last thing I wanted to
you.
ask you is, what message would you give to people? I mean, everyone, all of us, each one of us is going to have challenges in our life at some point and going to have something that feels very devastating, that you feel like you can't move on. And what is there sort of a message that you
Mm.
can give to people about how to, yeah, move
I
forward?
think we have to try what I already said, to let go of the idea we can control our lives
Mm,
and bad things are going to happen anyway.
Mm.
And I believe that in life we go on waves, you know, and there's nothing you can do about that. The waves are
Yeah.
coming.
Yes. Yeah.
But the thing is, how do you, when you're on a high, when you're at the top of your wave,
Yes.
reflect on what is it that made you get on top?
Yes.
And what do you learn? How are you going to protect yourself when you're going down again? And then when you're down, don't try to fight the wave. The wave is there, but if you let yourself being carried by the wave, be there, acknowledge that you're down there, but you're going to come out of it again. And accept that sorrow or unhappiness or grief or fear or whatever it is, it's part of being human. And accept that. Don't try to fight it, but try to stay close to yourself and to acknowledge your feelings and try to understand the mechanisms that can help you getting out of that wave, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. And I'm going to remember that wave or those waves. And that's going to also help me personally. And I'm sure it's going to help our listeners. Thanks so
Thank
much,
you.
Laurence. Thank
Thank
you.
you.